Okay, so this is an Eclipse computerized mat cutter that's recently been restored and rebuilt by the CMC doctor. I will walk you around it. The monitor stand is right here with a monitor, keyboard, and mouse. And then the PC tower is right down here. These little bins are just for holding supplies. This is an accessory to the system anyways. This is the computerized mat cutter over here. Okay. This is the cutting head in the open position. And this is the part that holds the blade. There's no blade in it at the moment. The red switch controls the blade depth setting, and there are a number of steps on here for the blade. There's a 2-ply which isn't used, a 4-ply, a 6-ply, and an 8-ply. So you just move this all the way over for 8, in the middle for 6, all the way over for 4. This blue switch, you can see it's thicker on this side than on this side. This is the V-groove switch. This subtracts 2-ply from whatever this is set at. So if I push this over here, that's for cutting V-groove. And if I push it over here to the right, that's for cutting a regular mat opening. To close the head, you just lift it forward, and then you reach down here, you flip this little lock over. Oops, looks like I got the nut too tight. And then you tighten the nut. Okay, and then now this is all solid. To open it, you flip this over and you tip this back. Okay. Clamping bars down here with rulers installed, and a vertical clamp here. This black part is called Sintra. It's expanded PVC foam, basically rigid PVC foam, and it's meant to indicate the cutting area. You do not cut into this surface unless you make mistakes. Okay. The machine height is adjustable. If you take these screws here and here out, you can actually lift this leg up. It's also tiltable. There's a bolt that goes in here with a nut on the back side, so you can tilt it to different positions. Normally you tilt it and leave it. Okay. There's a main circuit breaker for the machine, and there's also the serial number plate located on the end of the electrical panel. This is the electrical panel. I do not have the cover on it, so we can see inside of it. There's a small power supply here for 5 and 24 volts. There's a larger power supply here. This machine's been upgraded from 48 volts to 75 volts for the stepper motors, so it can go faster. Same torque. Okay, each one of these units is a stepper drive, one for each motor, X-axis, Y-axis, and the cutting head we call Z. These are cooling fans because we're running at 80 volts, 75 volts. We need to keep the drives cool, so there's heat sinks for each drive and cooling fans. Over here is the emergency stop relay. Couple relays for turning on each one of these stepper drives, home sensor relays, and just a general connection point for all 0 volts, 24 volts, and 5 volt lines. This is the interface that allows us to connect all of this hardware over here to the computer via this interface block called an ICM 2900. On the end of the machine this side is the air prep system. The main on-off function is here. You can disconnect the air, or you could push this down and release the air. A filter and a moisture trap here on the main regulator. This should be set at 80 psi. To adjust that, you pull up on this, turn it whichever direction to increase or decrease, and push it down to lock. In the middle here is a pressure sensor so that the machine will not run without air turned on. This is the regulator for the cutting head. It should be set at 40 psi. This is the back side of the computer. This is the main cable right here, this cable that connects to the interface board, the ICM 2900. The motion controller is in the PC. The interface board is in the machine. They're connected together by a 100-pin SCSI cable. On the side here, you've got your main power switch, emergency stop button, and a manual switch for turning the clamps on. There's also a foot switch for operating the clamps. Okay, the air is connected, so if I step on this right now, oh, see, I don't have the power on. Go over here, we'll turn the power on, and the clamps went on. So I can operate the clamps, and you can see it in here. The manual switch here and the foot switch down here are in parallel. So if you use the foot switch to clamp it, you got to use the foot switch to unclamp it. If you use the hand switch to clamp it, you got to use the hand switch to unclamp it. Don't get them confused. Okay. This system is also running on an i3 6.3 gigahertz CPU. It's got 8 gig of RAM in it. It only needs 4. It's only using 4 because I'm running Windows 10 Home in 32-bit mode. So this is a 32-bit system.